Good morning. There we go. All right, well, I'm on the West Coast, so it is 9 o'clock a.m. Some of you are joining me from back east, some of you are joining me from Canada, from the US, and it's really great to be able to connect right from my own space with everybody so far away. So this week, like I said yesterday, I am challenging myself and challenging my leadership and challenging my own hustle to do a Periscope every morning. And so here I am. And I'm going to share my top three spa business success tips with you because I definitely think that, there's some characteristic traits that I have that have definitely led me in the right direction. And what I notice is the people that I work with or some people that I've met, spa business owners that I met, we all kind of share these three characteristics. So maybe in this Periscope, you will recognize that in yourself. And maybe you'll recognize that, I might need to step up my game a little bit. But all three of these things have really made a huge difference in my business. And how it's made a difference, it's made a difference financially for sure, but it's made a difference because I've been able to create a business that works with the lifestyle that I want right now, and that's as a mom. And I know that as I'm shifting away from hands-on aesthetics and moving more into mentoring and business coaching and consulting, that these three tips serve me in that way too. So who do we have here? I saw Danica, I saw Judith here. Who else is here that I missed the little pop-up come up? Let me know where you're coming from. I got a couple blue hearts. Who's the blue? Who's the blue person on Periscope there? Thanks for the 2 hearts. So if you've been on Periscope with me before, if you're watching other Periscopers, you know that you can, if you hear something that you like, you can double tap on the screen and you can give lots of love, give lots of hearts. Oh, it's you, Danica, giving me some blue hearts. Awesome, thank you. And the other thing with Periscope is that you can, if you want to share a Periscope with somebody, so if you know you have other esthetician friends or hairstylist friends or anybody could, use whatever information, whether it's mine or somebody else's on Periscope, you can swipe to the right, I believe, and it will give you the option to share. And because Periscope is owned by Twitter, and it's actually still in beta, so they're still testing it out, and they're going to be probably rolling out new features as this platform grows, but you can share it on Twitter if you want as well. And I'll be sharing the replay on the Beauty Biz brainstorming group and my business page. So without further ado, so my top 3 spa biz success tips. Number 1, I have a tendency to be laser focused. Like seriously, like it's laser focus, like a dog with a bone. When I make a decision to do something, I am like a bullet and I will do whatever it takes to do it. And I know it's driven my mom crazy when I was a little girl because I was a confident little kid and I would just trot over to whatever I wanted and needed. And her favorite story was when I was 6 and we were at the beach in Penticton, BC. And apparently somebody over on their beach blanket had cookies. And I just trotted myself right over there and plopped myself on the blanket and I wanted cookies. So, that's led me to be an adult with laser focus. When I see something that I feel is valuable, whether it's to me, to somebody else, I'm very, very intense. And it can kind of be a downfall sometimes. Sometimes people feel like I am too intense. My husband has said to me, sometimes you're intense. But I'm going to take that. I'll take that as a compliment because I know that intensity has served me really, really well. And so it's allowed me to stay the course when I have an idea, whether it's a big idea to shift, say from when I was doing hands-on aesthetics and needing to decide what my next phase of my career was going to be. I spent a lot of time thinking about what this next stage would be for me. And when I started thinking about coaching and consulting, and that started feeling stronger and stronger as the right way to go. As soon as I made that decision, yep, I'm going to do it, I have been absolutely laser focused on it. And even though I'm still in my treatment room and I've slowly just been cutting down my hours here in the studio, I do have that laser focus for building this next stage of my career. And what focus will do is when you start feeling a little bit distracted, whether it's as you're creating your own content with a website, whether it's doing something different, doing something new, and you start looking at what your competitors are doing and what they're offering, and it's really easy to slip into not feeling so confident about your idea, about your vision. And so by having this intense laser focus, it's allowed me to stay my course when there definitely have been times where I feel like, it's more challenging. It might be, I might have bitten off more than I can chew. And I've experienced this all throughout my career as an entrepreneur. And it's those moments where I'm, feeling a bit of, I'm in that dark night of the soul and having to do some real deep wondering and trying to figure out my next steps. It's when I can get back to focusing on what is important to me that all of that just all of a sudden starts melting away. So if I wasn't as focused, it's so much easier to just be distracted. It's easy to be distracted by the minutiae of a day, right? Your social media posts, your engagement with your clients, calling back, booking appointments. It's easy to get distracted as an entrepreneur, especially if you're a solo, especially if you're a spa owner with staff and you are running the whole show and you don't have a manager. So many distractions. So if you have that ability to stay laser focused, so much easier. My number 2 is having a passion for something that's bigger than me. And I think you guys can all relate to this because we don't get into this industry because we want to make $1 million. We get into this industry because we have a passion for being in service to others. And however you do that, what is most important is that you are serving others. You're serving a greater and higher good than just yourself. And so when my vision for my aesthetics business actually started when I was 16 years old. And I don't quite remember how I came to this. I think it might have had to do with my mom, and she was going through a lot of personal growth at the time. And her marriage was, getting pretty rocky. I mean, we didn't know that at the time, but looking back, I can see how I came about this. But at 16, I knew that I wanted to create an environment for women where they felt safe, where they could replenish their energy, where they could learn how to better themselves. And at the time when I was 16, I saw that more as a gym, a women's only gym. I mean, this is back in 1986. And I used to be a competitive swimmer, used to play a lot of tennis, I was really active. So at the time, what was in front of me, could only really see that vision for helping women was as a gym. And I wanted to have personal growth and development courses offered. I wanted to have babysitting there so women weren't held back by not having childcare. It was important that they were physically active and physically taking care of their body. I really wanted to create this total mind, body, spirit space for women at 16 years old. I'd never had any kind of spa treatment. I mean, the spa industry wasn't really happening at that time. There were aesthetic places. I'd never even had my brow shape. I never had a pedicure, nothing. So fast forward, till, I was about 21. I'd already been in school for a few years. And I was at Douglas College. I was taking I was working towards going to SFU. and going into the fitness part of the industry. And really, I was doing it because I felt like that would give me credibility, but I knew that it wasn't quite right. And so when I discovered aesthetics and what that was, I was actually waitressing at Earl's, and a friend of a friend came in and sat at my table, and she just graduated from her aesthetics school. And when she started telling me about it, I just felt like this, a deep kind of, there's something here. And within a week, I went to the school. I'd had a tour of the facility and told about the program, and I was signed up. And that was the beginning of my aesthetics and spa career. And as soon as I got into school, I realized that my vision for helping women feel better about themselves so that they had more energy to give back to their friends and family, it was within the spa industry, because it was just starting at that point. So I've had this passion for helping others for a really, really, really long time. And that passion hasn't changed now that I'm moving into coaching and consulting. It's the same thing. I want to help women, be their best self. And if that means being an entrepreneur in the spa industry, I want to help those people. And so having that passion for something greater than myself, again, same like having the focus, it's allowed me to get through some really dark nights of the soul when I'm wondering if this is, as you're growing and developing your business, sometimes things don't work out the way you thought it, and you have a little bump. But when you're just first starting out and you're new, your confidence isn't that great. But having that deep knowing of what you're most passionate about will carry you through those harder times. And once you get on the other side, and sometimes those hard times are just like, it's an evening of feeling just bummed out. It doesn't have to be this big, hairy deal. It can just be, this just feels really hard. And, do I have what it takes to, for the longevity? And when you have that deep passion, once the day is over, and you wake up with a fresh start, it's like, I can't not do this. And that's how I feel. I feel like I can't not do it. I can't not share what I know and share that with other women to make their lives easier. So am I hitting any nerves for anybody? I'm sure I am. And if you want to pop in the chat there, which one, if you're feeling like, oh yeah, I'm a total laser focused person, or I have that deep passion, let me know what that is. The third thing that I attribute to my success is I hustle. I hustled all the time. When I was building my studio here, I was new to this little town. It's on an island. I had no friends. I did have my sister and my mom here, but I had to start over completely. And, it was a little daunting. And so what I did was, my sister's she's a personal trainer, but she also had a boot camp, so starting up a boot camp. And nothing like having a sister who loves business. She was feeling shy and not really confident about starting her boot camp at the time. And I just actually printed off posters and hung them up around our little town and told her, your boot camp starts in a couple weeks. Anyways, I digress. What I did was any kind of opportunity I had that was authentic and felt right, I shared what I did with new people I met. And, I'd ask them like, oh, what do you do here? And then, a natural part of that conversation is for them to ask, oh, what do you do? And so I would share it with them. I hustled in doing joint venture work. I asked my sister, I said, hey, can I include in your welcome package anybody who does your boot camp gets a discount on services only while they are members of your boot camp. And that worked out really well too. I got a lot of new clients that way. I responded to emails and texts, not during hours. I responded to them and got back to them, until 10 o'clock at night. I was responding to emails. If somebody wanted to book an appointment, I responded to them. I didn't wait till next business day at 8:30 or 9. I called people back on my weekends. I just hustled. I didn't stop hustling. And, you know, as social media grew, I still do that. I still keep, you know, this is part of doing this Periscope once a week. That's part of my hustle. And I have to challenge myself. Sometimes it's just easier not to do it, but I know that there's big opportunity and I have to push past my discomfort. So in the person that I coach, or sorry, she coaches me, my business coach, she's been telling me to get on Periscope for like a month. And I'm like, yeah. And then at our last session, I just said, oh, it feels awkward and I don't know what the resistance is. And she's like, you just got to do it. So I do. I just have to do it. I have to push past my discomfort. And so I decided I'm going to challenge myself to do a Periscope every day this week. And every time I do it, it gets a little easier. And especially if I make it at the same time every day. So I really know that having that intrinsic desire to hustle has really helped to build my business much quicker. You know, I think it's kind of difficult, particularly for estheticians and spa owners who have been estheticians. It's kind of, you know, you're used to being in your treatment room and it's quiet and it's serene and, you know, it's just one-on-one, it's comfortable. And it's kind of awkward and feels sometimes kind of icky to put ourselves out there. And that's what the hustle is. You got to put yourself out there, whether it's going to a new networking group, meeting new people, introducing yourself, just being open. But I understand that as estheticians, that can sometimes be a challenge. So I actually have a little bonus biz tip, my success biz tip. And I really kind of didn't realize what I was doing at the beginning when I tried this tip. And I did it when I first opened my very first aesthetic studio. And that was to look at other industries and see what's working for them and see how I could apply it to my business and if that would work to be successful as well. So you might have read some of my blog posts, and one of them, this was from last fall, was I used to work at Earl's, like I said a little earlier in the Periscope, and that was a really great Earl's restaurant in Vancouver. That was a really great company to work for. I learned a lot about business, and I've taken quite a few of their strategies and have used them in my spa, and they've worked beautifully. I look and listen to what's happening in the cosmetics industry. And I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they've got really smart people doing their marketing, doing their, what do you call that when you set up the retail space, merchandising. They've got really smart people who are experts in merchandising. And so why not look at what they're doing and just, you know, tuck it away, go back to your studio, your spa, and see how you could kind of model after that. So I've taken a lot of what I've seen, what I've read about other industries, and I've applied them to my own to see if they work. I test them out. Sometimes they don't work, sometimes they do. But why not try it? It gives me lots of ideas for my business. Anyways, that is today's Periscope. And if you have a success biz tip that's a characteristic that you felt has really propelled you in your career, I'd like to hear about it. I know you have some. Don't be shy. And I, of course, as usual, I'll be posting this in the Beauty Biz Brainstorming group, the replay, and on my Facebook page. And if you are new on my scope here and new to me, you can find out more information about who I am and what I do at refreshedbiz.com. And there's a free download at the top if you would like to take advantage of that. It's called 5 Steps for Salon Owners to be Fully Booked. Anyways, thanks for joining me, you guys. I love sharing with you, and I will be on the scope tomorrow morning. I hope you join me. See you then.